Hello everyone. So this time I'm going to bring you something about Gemini Code Assist. I have been using the tool quite a lot on my coding workflow, and I think it's a great option for developers in general, especially for developers working on personal projects, as Gemini is quite a good model and you can do a lot for free. So I'm going to explore the two main options related to Gemini Code Assist that can benefit developers in general. The first one would be the GitHub plugin extension, and then just the Gemini Code Assist integration on IDEs. In my case, I do work with VSCode. So to start with, we can go through the GitHub plugin, which has a few quite nice features. So the first one is the pull request summary that it does anytime that you submit a new pull request, but it also does the coding review, and you can interact with the Gemini model through some specific actions. So let me show you some examples to start with. But before we begin, something to keep in mind is that also we have two main options for Gemini Code Assist. The first one is the consumer version that you can do a lot for free, and is mostly targeted for developers working on general projects. But if you want to go on the enterprise route to comply with the enterprise and your organization safety and requirements, you can just go for the enterprise version. So going back for the example, I do have some repository here, which is open source, and you can see Gemini Code Assist working here. So once I submit the PR, you can see that there is no description other than the files changed. Straight away, Gemini provides this summary, which is quite good. So developers in general, they don't need to spend a lot of time thinking about what they're going to put here. Gemini already does a very good job summarizing what has changed, highlighting what's relevant, and doing a general analysis of the code. You can also see that it puts here, hello, Dimitri Oliveira. I'm Gemini Code Assist. I'm currently reviewing this pull request. So this is the first message that it does, but in the backend, it's also running the full code review, which it posts here a little bit. So this is the second feature, the actual code review. So it does a summary here of what it reviewed, but you can see the revision here. So it does a review like a general regular developer would do. It highlights what's changed, and you can see that for some of the reviews, it also outputs the code here with the option for it to commit. I cannot do here because this PR has been closed and merged, but it proposes here what it can change. You can also see that the tags with the priority. So you have high, medium, and low priority, and also you have, let me see here, critical ones, if it's something really, really important. So this is the second feature, the code review, and the third one is that you have access to actions, so you can actually interact with the model. So if I go to maybe one option here, what I could do is that I can interact with the model and ask it to provide some more information, or maybe do something else. So it's basically a regular prompting with a regular prompt with the Gemini model. So let me see if I can find a good option here. Maybe this one would do, just for us to give it a try. So I can put here, Gemini, give me the full code sample. So anytime that I want to interact with the Gemini model, I just put -Gemini, and it will give me the answer. There are different actions that I can use. So you can see here, Gemini review. If I wanted to tag it after it already gave the first review, if I want another review, I can just do it. PR summary with this one, I can comment, tagging it, and I can also ask for help. But the -Gemini is the regular command that you can use here. So this is the PR that I asked, and let me see if it updated the code. Oh, you can see here. So it just outputted here. Basically, in this case, it just added this. It just pasted the same code suggestion that it already did here. But I can just put a bit more information, like debate a little bit and request changes on what suggested to me. Okay, so the next thing is how we can actually set up this. One option is just to go here in this link, install the GitHub option, and by the end, after you see the summary here, you can click on install for free. Another option is that you can go straight to the Gemini app. Oh, here you can see the steps, which are quite simple, and I will just show you in practice what it looks like. So you can go here to the actual app of Gemini Code Assist. In my case, it shows configure here because I have already installed in my account. Otherwise, it would be install. So you would be following this step. So you would click on install, and you would choose the user or the organization that you want to install the app, and then you finish the installation. Also log in on your GitHub account just to authorize. After you do it, it will be installed on your account, which is quite simple. So anytime that you create another project, what you can do is just go here on configure. Then you can select the organization. In my case, that would be using my personal account. And then I need to authorize here on my GitHub app. So after it is authorized, you can see that I'm basically in this section here on the applications, and I can apply the GitHub, the Gemini Code Assist on all repositories, or I can do it by repository, which is the most recommended way. So I already have it installed on 3 of my repositories, but if I wanted to add it to another one, I could just click here which new repository I would do. So if it's a brand new repository, it would just show up here and I can add it. So this is the first feature, the Gemini Code Assist for the GitHub plugin, which is quite neat. And you can, by the way, just do it for free. You have the quota difference here. So it's for free, very good feature. The other one that we can go through is the Gemini Code Assist for the VSCode or any IDE that you want to use the integration. So currently it supports VSCode, but also IntelliJ if you want to do it. The setup is also super easy, and I will show you what it looks like here in the IDE. So here I'm using VSCode. I can click here on the extensions, and I can search for Gemini Code Assist. Yeah, which is this one. So in my case, it's already installed. If it wasn't the case, I would just click here on install, and then I would need to restart the VS Code IDE. So after you do it, you can click here. You can see here that I have the Gemini icon, and I can just click here to start interacting with the model. So the Gemini Code Assist on the IDE, it has some very good features. First one, which is quite usual, other LLMs providers also do it, but it's the code completion. So as you type some code, it will suggest what can follow this. It's just an autocomplete for code, basically. But the real thing about Gemini Code Assist is this panel here, which is a way that you can interact with the model. So you can use here you can use this just as a way to prompt the Gemini model, like you would do with the Gemini app or on AI Studio. But the good thing here is that it's context aware with your code. So you can see here that I can set what's the context, and if I'm using this file here, it will be using this as the context to prompt the model. So if I ask here, what does this file do? It would just use it as a context. So it would probably try to explain what's going on here on this file. If I change it here, you can see that it changes the context as I change the files. So this is the first cool thing about using Gemini Code Assist on your IDE, because it's context aware of your case, of your code. But there are also different features that you can use here. So let me clean this here. And there are different ways that you can apply context to your code. So one way is to use this context aware, but if I remove it, I can just use here, what does the code add? And I can use this at to select a specific file. So I can select this one, which would be the same file, but I can also select a folder related to the I don't know, files at, and I can select a full folder. Let me put the agents folder here. So you can see that files and folders. So this way I can tag specific files to the context instead of going to the painful way of just copying all of the code and adding it here, which would be a mess. It would be really hard to understand and parse the content. I can just tag the files or folders and add it to the context to prompt Gemini model, which is quite neat. Okay, so this is basically prompting Gemini Code Assist using your IDE. But a few things that you can do is also to customize a little bit. So if you can go back here, there are different ways to customize. The first one is that Gemini is aware of your code, but you can set some limits to what it can see and what it cannot see. For instance, if you have secrets or I don't know, passwords, PII data on your repository, by default, what it doesn't look is what in your git ignore. So this is already a file that people use to avoid sending stuff into to GitHub, but you cannot. Gemini Code Assist would also avoid using this as the context. Another option that it's specific for Gemini Code Assist is that you can create a AI exclude file. So instead of git ignore, if I would name it AI exclude file, basically everything that is showing here would be excluded from the context of Gemini. Another kind of customization that we can do is the kind of tools that we are going to use for the model, which brings us to another cool way to use Gemini Code Assist, which is the agent mode. So if I go here to the agent mode, it's basically, you can think of it as Gemini Code Assist, but on steroids. So it can basically prompt Gemini, but being much more powerful. So it can analyze multiple files at once. It can also write multiple files, and it can use many more tools. So you can see here that is basically an overview of what the model can do. You can do the basic things about asking questions about the code, but now it has the full context and is able to properly create a plan about what it's going to do next. So it can use the built-in functions like writing and reading and writing files, but you can also configure MCP servers. So if there are specific tools that you want Gemini to use that are relevant to your coding workflow, you can just configure those tools here and Gemini would be able to use it. You can just do more complex stuff. So if we go here to the VSCode to see what it looks like, is that in this option here, I can just tag the agent mode, and then anything that I type here on Gemini Code Assist, it will be already using the agent mode. So to test, maybe something that we can do is just ask the model to create a README file. So in my case, I already have one here. So let me delete it so the model does not copy it, and I can see what it does. Create a readme.md file for this project. And then you can already see that Gemini is thinking here, and I can see what it's going to do. So it's thinking here, and then it executed this tool, which is the read file. So it was reading everything, and then it came here with another tool execution, which is write file, and I can inspect here what it should suggest. So it seems to be a very simple README file, but then I could just keep iterating on it. Okay, so I can accept, reject, or edit. So I can accept. Agent is working. So basically, you can see that as it's planning and as it executing the task, it is prompting the user to accept or reject what it's doing. So I can just ask it here, add setup section. And probably it will do basically the same thing, just analyze the file. I can take a look at the thinking process here and see the task that it's executing. So first it read the file, it read the file, then it edited, and I can just accept here. Okay, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, so it seems to be quite an interesting one. So it has the setup file here, and it seems to be covering most of the idea of the project. Awesome. So I think that it was mostly it. So if you wanna just give it a try, as you saw, it's quite easy to set up both the GitHub plugin and also Gemini Code Assist here on your VS Code. So I hope you enjoy it and see you in the next one.